Well, Lisa, now that it's so cold outside, so many of us are looking for something warm to eat when we get home. We want to be able to relax. And today we're talking about something that I think a lot of people would like to do but are intimidated by, and that's soup.
That's true. And actually, I didn't even know how to make soup before, but then one day I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it. And if it turns out awful, then it turns out awful, but it turned out fabulous.
Right, so okay, give us the example with the cauliflower, because you are so excited to share this recipe.
That's right, yes, and actually it's the simplest form. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a chef by any means. I like something very simple, very nutritious, and that it's tasty at the same time. So here I was at home and I thought, well, I didn't really want to eat any more raw food, raw cauliflower, vegetable sticks, and I thought, well, I'll cook the cauliflower. And I thought, well, why don't I just make soup? That saves me the effort of chewing at the time. So what I did was I took half a head of cauliflower, I boiled it, I kept half the water that I boiled it in, and I simply took a potato masher, because I didn't even have a chopper, blender, or whatever, and I just mashed it all up, and I added some sea salt and black pepper, and I did sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on that, and wow, was it ever not only tasty, but I was full for 3 hours. I couldn't even cook the rest of the food that I thought I would be able to eat, because soup is really filling. You can eat a lot more when it's in that form.
But talk about so cheap, because all we're talking about is cauliflower.
Yeah, it was just cauliflower. Now, of course, when making a soup, you could do so many things. You can even add in things that you're not particularly fond of, but get the nutrients from them and kind of disguise them.
And so easy to do, right? Because you could do this ahead of time.
Ahead of time, yeah. I would suggest, though, when you do make soup, you know, try to eat it that day or even the next day, because the vitamins and nutrients will seep out and evaporate and expire. You do want to get them in. But yes, you could make it the night before and then bring it to work in a thermos. You could just have it for when the kids come home.
And one of the good things about having soup is it does fill you up, as long as you're putting the right ingredients in it.
That's right, yeah. When you're buying canned soup, first of all, you don't know how long it's been in there. There's a ton of sodium that you are not able to control half the time. And just even if you were to add your own vegetables, at least to a can of soup, it's better. But when you make soup, you can put spices and you can put greens, leafy greens in there. You can, you know, I brought a few things to show and share.
Okay.
One thing that we often forget with soup, now soup is watery, vegetables, which is fiber.
Right.
We boil the soup, and what that does is it brings out the carbohydrate, which is energy, and the sweetness, so it tastes good. But you do want to add some kind of oil. So I brought some sesame seed oil here.
Okay, now why sesame seed oil?
Sesame seed oil is just a really healthy seed, like sesame seeds, little seeds, has some great omega-3s in there, but you can do olive oil. Just, you need some kind of oil. It's a fat that's going to help you feel comforted, satisfied, full.
And that's okay, right, Lisa, to boil the oils within the pot itself?
Yeah, I usually do it towards the end.
Okay.
Because you don't want to just cook the oil. So make your soup, boil your soup, put some grain in there, some barley or some buckwheat or some brown rice, some really fun grain that's going to really fill you up and make you feel good in the wintertime, nice and full. And then you can also put in your spinach and kale. You can get all those in there, and that actually, by cooking it, makes the iron more available. It brings the color up to like a nice darker green.
And you were also saying too that when you're done making the soup, hang on to the broth.
Not the soup, sorry, when you're making vegetables.
Sorry, when you're making vegetables.
Yeah.
That's right, you're boiling
regular
vegetables.
Yeah,
okay.
Regular supper time or lunchtime, you're boiling some vegetables, steaming them. Keep that water for another time. So put it into a container, store it in the fridge for a couple days, and then you can make your soup from that. You don't have to go out and buy your bouillon cubes.
And you said that it's a good thing not to go out and buy that stuff because you don't know what's in it?
Again, you don't know the sodium, the coloring, the additives that are placed in there. So.
Okay, I want to talk about some of the other stuff that you have on here, because some of the items that you brought in people will recognize and some people will not.
That's
miso.
Right. Yes, I did bring in the miso. Miso is something, it's a paste, so it's squishy in here, looks pretty goopy. But what this is, it's a fermented product. It's fermented soya bean. You can get a brown rice. It doesn't have to be soybean. This one's a brown rice and soya bean puree.
Okay. And then how do you cook this?
Well, that one's a fairly easy thing to cook. You never want to boil it, because why you're eating miso is that there's some friendly bacteria in there that really helps with the gut and to keep it stabilized and not out of control with all the sugars that we're eating in refined foods. This is an immune booster, immune helper. So in the time when we're, in the cold, we're getting cold, flus and things like that. So you want to do this for immune and for healthy gut bacteria.
And Lisa, you would buy this at the health food store?
The health food store has it. I know some grocery stores have that. And what you do, I make it into just a quick, I boil the kettle, I put the water into a cup, I let the boil come off because I don't want to damage the bacteria.
Okay.
I put a teaspoon of the miso and I stir it all up. But you can add it to soups, you can put it into stir fries, you can even spread that on toast and make a sandwich out of it.
Okay, tell me about crackers.
Okay, the reason why I had the crackers, the Revita here, or any kind of wasa or something like that, is sometimes you're eating soup, you want to crunch. You're looking for something, then that, if you're not satisfied when you're eating soup, you might then look for something else and overeat.
Okay.
So if you had a healthy cracker, you're getting the crunch, you're getting the taste. So you can add that. I like that, a nice piece of rye toast with my soup, and dip it in there.
I was going to say, it would probably be really good dipped into the cauliflower soup that you made.
Yes, it was. That's what. Yeah, and then I was really full because then I had a lot of carbs. So just watch your portions on that as well. I brought some coconut water in. So coconut water is another way of, you don't have to do your chicken noodle soup. Okay, you can do a very different. You could put coconut and some lime. This is the water.
And this is it right here. And Lisa, I was just hearing recently too that a lot of stars now are drinking the coconut water.
Young coconut water. The reason why that's so, what's having the big fad going right now is that it is a fabulous water, has a lot of electrolytes, your potassium, your magnesium. So as opposed to the regular sports drinks, which has food coloring, sugars, or sweeteners, this is a very healthy way to go. I love it. It's very sweet.
Okay,
yeah,
so good for you. And then of course you've got spices here.
Spices, cayenne pepper, garlic. Really, you know what? If you can get 3 spices in a day, you are just shaking up everything inside your body, waking up to the taste buds, and then you're not looking for those regular refined foods.
And it's also good too because doesn't it, if you're eating spicy foods, it just boosts your immune system and makes you sweat it out?
Well, that's the reason. Actually, it's tricking your body to think that there's something gone away in there. It's something that goes, oh, send out the immune system, let's help heal this body, when really there's nothing, but you've got the nice house cleaning going on.
Yes, and you also have here cinnamon sticks, and I hear that cinnamon is so good for heart disease. Is it? Well, does it lower high blood pressure?
It stabilizes blood sugar levels. Okay. So it's not an appetite suppressant. It's more, it helps stabilize the blood sugar so you don't have those cravings. So 1 teaspoon a day of cinnamon. So if you want to sprinkle in your oatmeal, that's one of my favorite ways to do that. Or just even in your food, if you're doing a richer savory or a stewy kind of thing, sprinkle some cinnamon and some nutmeg in there. It has a really nice, rice. Sprinkle some cinnamon on rice.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And it changes it up, I guess, so that you're not bored by it. And of course, you know, when we talk about soups, there are so many health benefits.
There are huge health benefits. First of all, when you're making soups, you're consuming so many vitamins and nutrients that otherwise you wouldn't have because you're able to consume it. But I do want to just talk about water. You're hydrating yourself when you're having soup. You're giving your brain that happy, healthy, I'm eating and filling up. But I do want to make sure that we're using stainless steel dishes or glass.
Okay, so not plastic?
Not plastic and not non-stick.
Okay.
Unless it's like a healthy, non-toxic material one.
Okay.
And also try to buy organic when you can.
Oh, and you know, it can be small. I mean, some people might say, well, you know, it's really pricey right now, but if you can just make little changes, right?
Organic cabbage, organic carrots. Yeah.
You also say to use clean, clear water or own broth, as you mentioned before. Yes. Don't peel anything.
Yeah, if you're buying organic, then you wash them up as you would, and then so many nutrients are in the peels of, actually, in fact, what I do now, because now I'm such a soup person, if I'm peeling anything, I save the peels, and then I boil them and get that vegetable broth from the peels.
And what about freezing? Is that a good idea with the soups?
You can freeze. Be careful what you're freezing in, again, which containers you're doing. Make sure they're the nice, friendly plastics for your body and the environment. And then, again, not freezing for too long. You want to use up those foods. Always try to consume fresh as possible.
Okay, and of course, you encourage people to go to your website where they can get more on these fabulous soup recipes.
Yes, thank you.
Well, okay, so give it to us then.
Oh, okay, so it's lisa@graciously-living.ca.
Okay, and of course, they can find great soup recipes and then so much more tips and advice when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle.
Something you're missing, just email me and request.
Okay, perfect. Lisa, as always, thank you so much. Now I'm hungry. I just want to eat some cauliflower soup. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.